The spiritual master teacher, Unifier's message to mankind from the Northern Pontifical Academy in 2015. The entire earthly civilization is on the threshold of its doom if nothing is done. Egoism, lust for power, greed, vanity, lust, etc. dominate the human mind, his thinking and acting. These characteristics are completely contradictory to the laws of the cosmos and all human development. Divine love that Christianity and other religions preach is practiced very rarely and only by few people on earth. People call themselves Christians, but without living a Christian life. Man goes to church and prays to Jesus Christ or God, but when he leaves the church, he continues in the same tracks as before. Man has now come to a crossroads where egoism, greed, lust for power, vanity, anger, etc. have reached their maximum. All this has been at the expense of nature and the failure to develop a higher qualitative spiritual consciousness, soul consciousness. Now we must choose which way to go. Either we choose the path leading to the light, or we choose the path leading to darkness as to date. We cannot serve both Mammon and the supreme God power, the power of Christ, at the same time. In the Sermon on the Mount, Christ says, "You cannot serve both God and Mammon." What does he mean by that? The word Mammon is derived from the Aramaic word mammonas, which simply means fortune, wealth, or earthly property. So what does it mean when Christ says, "You cannot serve both God and Mammon at the same time"? Does it mean that material wealth or money is something evil? Of course not. Money is just a means for transforming our work into products or services. Money basically is a form of developed barter. Money in itself has no moral value whatsoever, but is a means to achieve something, to get something, to satisfy own and others' needs. And that is where ethics comes into the picture. Ethics is about how we think, and morality is how we act towards each other, towards our surroundings. We are able to use the money for both good and evil. It's like everything else in the world. No objects or phenomena are in themselves evil, sinful, but what is crucial is if we use it for negative or positive purposes. When money becomes an end in itself, to greed, and when the pursuit of money only has to do with our own satisfaction, needs, acquisitiveness, then we allow Mammon to control us. Then Mammon becomes our Lord, our God, and we become the servants of Mammon, his slaves. The mind, the matter, has always been intended to be a means in man's cosmic development, and not a goal that the majority so far have thought and imagined in their minds. There is nothing wrong in being a millionaire or billionaire. It's about how and what we use our money for. We can use it for an end in itself to gain more wealth, or we can use it to contribute to a better world, a better society or lives for our fellow beings. Being a philanthropist is not the same thing as being a generous and considerate human being. Helping poor people is a good thought and deed and gives good karma destiny to the giver, but it develops neither the receiver nor giver. Giving and receiving must be reciprocal and not one-sided. To seek knowledge and development as a human being is the biggest task we have in life. Human beings take for granted that they are entitled to material abundance. This is a modified truth. If you know the law of karma, of destiny, then you understand that the situations which we all find ourselves in are created in our past lives through ignorance, unconsciousness. We cannot reap other that we have sown. We have two options in this life. Either we choose the path of the soul, spirit, that leads us to the light, to development, freedom, happiness and harmony, or we choose the path of the mind, intellect as to date, which leads us into the darkness, to stagnation, continued suffering, misery and poverty. Christ said, "The poorest of the poor is the one who has nothing but money." He also said, "Verily, it's difficult for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Yes, I tell you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God." So far, people have ignored both the law of karma, destiny, and of reincarnation, rebirth, in Christianity. These are the main themes in Hinduism and Buddhism. Humans have believed and believe in their naivety, ignorance, that life randomly punishes some and favors others. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows, this he will also reap. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad, for the tree is known by its fruit. Humans think it's enough to pray to God for help when they have committed a mistake or find themselves in need, or want tangible benefits, and this without needing to live a righteous life that Christ proclaimed. Christ put it clearly when he said, "I am in this world, but not of this world." He made it clear that this three-dimensional world neither was his nor man's true home. The Supreme Creator, First Source Intelligence, Christ, has never left man alone. He has always been here in various guises. But how many of you have recognized him? The cosmic ocean of omniscience, which is symbolized by the power of Christ, is the supreme divine source of absolute consciousness, which is beyond the mind world, matter, the domain of form. The cosmic ocean of omniscience constitutes the main source of all that has been, all that is, and all that will ever exist within the creation. We cannot reap happiness, harmony, love, community, caring, if we are slaves under matter, form, if we are greedy, power-prone, self-centered, hateful. What we give out to our surroundings, we must also reap in this life or the next life. If we sow wheat, then we cannot harvest oats. Here we have the cause of our suffering. Every individual must personally pay in this life or the next life, in the form of suffering of all kinds, what they have created and caused to their surroundings, to our fellow brothers and sisters. When we understand this, then we also understand that there is nothing as divine punishment or some divine injustice in the world. Everything we experience through our senses is what we have created ourselves. in this life or previous lives. The word Jesus is a synonym of the individualized soul atom, soul, the sun's drops, separation from the original source, the Father, Christ. Jesus Christ said, "By myself I can do nothing. It's the Father in me that acts." He made it clear that it's not the mind, the intellect, that is the driving force in creation, but the soul atom. The mind world, mind is but a tool, an instrument that the universal soul, the absolute consciousness, uses in order to complete his creation. The entire earthly civilization is threatened with a total collapse, both socially and economically, if nothing is done. Seers have for a long time argued and preached that this will happen at the end of the Piscan Age. This is also mentioned in John's Revelation. It's not a matter of if it happens, but when. We have no more than a decade at our disposal to choose the direction. Christ said, "Those who have the sign on their forehead will be saved." Christ told that man must pull up their consciousness from the mind's lower regions, centers of consciousness, to the forehead region, where the higher qualitative part of the mind and the soul have their center. Otherwise, we cannot free ourselves from the mind's lower qualitative domain, its impact. All meditation and focus should be on the sixth center of consciousness, in the forehead region. In order to reach a higher qualitative consciousness, we must first undergo a process of purification. This means that we must remove all the negative thoughts, emotions and characteristics that we through the millennia have stored in our subconscious database, in our DNA structure, and replace them with the love of Christ. Christ said, "Treat others as you want to be treated yourself." Countries and people are preparing for war, and at the same time they are propagating peace. Peace can only be achieved through self-realization, which leads to God-realization. Self-realization is about reaching a higher quality multidimensional consciousness, omniscience, that is Christ consciousness. Only then will we achieve peace and harmony within ourselves and with our surroundings. Then we become masters in life, but before that we are students in the school of life. A main role is to follow the ethical moral living that Christ preached to man from the beginning, and all who profess Christianity should follow it. If we look back in history, then we can state that wars never created any lasting peace. Wars have only created increased suffering, misery, anarchy, and disintegration of society. Our entire earthly history bears witness to it. Those who advocate war, destruction, anarchy, and slavery, they cannot call themselves Christians or claim that they serve the Supreme Lord. All kinds of violence, selfishness, lust for power and greed belong to the mind's lower qualitative properties, where the demonic powers have their influence over man. The essence of Christianity was from the beginning Gnosticism, which so far has not attracted the attention of Christians in the world. Gnosticism in its origin is the secret doctrine of Christ. Gnosticism can be compared to Tao and Saint Matt, the absolute consciousness. Gnosticism was banned in the 200 to 300s AD due to the power interests of the Constantine Church. Christ's secret doctrine is about the science of the soul instead of the mind. The soul energy, soul, is zero-point energy or neutral energy and is the very life within everything created. Neutral energy and information are scalar waves and cannot be measured or be understood with the intellect. It can only be understood through perception and through intuition. The word gnosis stands for knowing, insight, and has nothing with faith, imagination, or idolatry to do. These latter belong to the domain of the mind world. As esotericism, the inner teachings, Gnosticism has been excluded from Christianity. We have created a world society whose basic foundation is mainly based on faith and idolatry. But faith is but an instrument, a tool that leads man to knowing. Knowing, knowledge only, can develop man from his unconsciousness, ignorance, to absolute consciousness about the creation and its underlying cause. Faith has been necessary for the human evolutionary process, the entry and development in the three-dimensional material form, in order to explore the kinetic energy, matter, the most sluggish state of form. Now, when we have completed this process and have nothing more to explore in this three-dimensional material world, we must choose a different direction and replace faith, intellectual knowledge, with knowing. If we continue as to date and follow the mind's, intellect's lower qualitative, limited consciousness, which leads us to darkness, to increased suffering, degeneration, anarchy, disintegration of society, then our entire earthly civilization will perish. However, if we choose evolution, the path of the soul, spirit, that leads us to the light, to freedom and unlimited consciousness, then our civilization will instead flourish. Through increased consciousness only, we can achieve unity, solidarity, affinity, whose basic foundation is harmony, divine love, and wisdom. If Christ would be born in Bethlehem time and time again, and not in you were born, the home of the soul, you'd never gain. To Golgotha you lead your steps in vain, until its cross in you is raised again. Angelus Silesius. A ship goes to the east, another to the west, and the same wind drives the two. It's the position of sails, not the direction of the wind, that determines the way they go. And like the sea breeze, so is also the power of fate when we travel on the sea of life. It's the ennobling of the soul, not calm and storm, that gave direction to our life. Max Heindel. The man on the white horse, who is mentioned in the book of Revelation, the 19th chapter, is already here. He is the spiritual master teacher, unifier, the messenger, of whom the seers since long have spoken about, will come from the Nordic countries. He has been trained in his incarnations for his mission in the service of mankind. All of this can be read in the book, My Incarnations and Teachings, authored by the spiritual master teacher, unifier, Sander A. Marcus, Mark John. The spiritual master teacher, unifier, is both Christ and Buddha, love, wisdom, in the same figure. The spiritual master teacher is endowed with the knowledge and experience of both the mind world and the spiritual world. Everyone is waiting for a Messiah or the return of Jesus, But when he is among us, then we do not recognize him. In his appearance, the spiritual master teacher, Unifier, is not distinguished from the rest of humanity. He can be compared to a chameleon that can adapt to different environments and situations. In his interior, however, the spiritual master teacher possesses a superior knowledge concerning both the mind world and the spiritual world. The spiritual master teacher is neither Christ nor Buddha. He is neither love nor wisdom. He is neither positive nor negative. He is neutral, that is both plus, yang, and minus, yin, in the same figure, shape. The spiritual master teacher, Unifier, does not condemn, because he knows that everything we learn in life, through happiness and sorrow, wellness and suffering, gradually leads us to increased understanding, knowledge, and consciousness. He is the only one among the people who understands the different shades of life. For the first time in thousands of years of earthly history, the spiritual master teacher, Unifier, appears in both a masculine and a feminine form. Through his masculine form, he conveys knowledge concerning the creation in its entirety, that related to the virtual, spiritual, implicit, folded, unmanifested part of the creation, and that related to the mind, the explicit, unfolded, manifested part of the creation. Through his feminine form, he conveys healing energy to all those who want to follow the spiritual master teacher to higher dimensional worlds. Saint Clement in Alexandria, who was recognized by the Gnostics, has confirmed that the original Christian Ecclesia, secret doctrine of Christ, consisted of a so-called esoteric part that was reserved for few students and practitioners, and a public exoteric part that was official. Today, the official part of Christianity consists of the Christian religion, which is worshipped and followed by approximately 2.2 billion Catholics and Protestants on earth. Origen, who was a former member of the Serapis School in Alexandria, Egypt, tried to give Christianity a logical explanation regarding the soul, the absolute consciousness, its reincarnation, rebirth into the human housing, body. He tried to show to his students how Gnostic philosophy could enable the imprisoned soul in the human form, body, to operate according to the conditions of the animal form, body, and then be released from the bodily prison and achieve immortal eternal life. But he didn't succeed, since man of that time had a too limited knowledge and consciousness. The separated soul atom, soul, is the real human being, the absolute consciousness and the drop of the eternal ocean of the first source intelligence, the supreme source of God. The Christ consciousness cannot die physically. It was immortal before it became mortal, and will in due time learn to undress the mortal life, the most sluggish part of the mind world, matter, its limitations, and return to the Father's house, to such kind, the Christ consciousness field, from where it once descended. Jesus, Son of Man, his crucifixion symbolizes the individual soul's crucifixion in the mind energy, matter, the lowest, most sluggish state of form. Jesus, Son of Man, the separated soul atom, soul, his resurrection symbolizes his emancipation from the three-dimensional form, body. It's important to understand that a single earthly life is insufficient for a human being to be able to free himself from his threefold nature and cross the border to immortality, to Amritsar, the eternal fountain of youth. This is symbolized by the Sikhs' golden temple in Amritsar in India and the white swan in the Swan Lake. Likewise, it's impossible for man during one earthly life to emancipate completely from the constraint of mind and senses. Man must first undergo a process of purification and clean his threefold nature, that is, his mental, emotional, and biological physical housings, bodies, from all negative influences. This must be done before man can reach enlightenment from his soul's immortal, all-encompassing consciousness. But prior to that, man's threefold nature is governed exclusively by the mind, that is, the intellect's lower, qualitative, limited consciousness. Here we have the reason why man so far has not been able to solve his individual and social problems. Albert Einstein put it this way: no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Egoism, greed, and lust for power make man a slave, an obedient tool in the hands of the negative, satanic, demonic powers. Many people in the world, especially in leadership positions, are obsessed with and affected by these demonic, satanic, draconian powers without them being aware of it. These lower qualitative forces and beings are of four-dimensional nature and feed on three-dimensional human fear, ignorance, and material needs. Satan said to Jesus, "If you worship me, I give you the whole world." All people on earth are exposed to the influence of the satanic power to different degrees. Some people sell their soul, their divine quality, to Satan for a few pence, tangible assets, without being aware of the consequences. When man no longer fulfills the wish of Satan, devil, demon, dragon, then the poor human being is left alone and has neither the devil nor God to turn to. Such a soul gets lost in the maze of the mind world, the creation. This human being is like a sheep without a shepherd. Christianity represents the largest religion in the world today. Approximately 32% of the world population regard themselves as Christians. 23% profess Islam. 16% of the Earth's total population says they do not belong to any religion at all. This is because they so far have not understood what is hidden behind the creation. Of the approximately 2.2 billion people who call themselves Christians, about 1.2 billion are Catholics. The US population consists of about 308 million people. About 247 million of them, that is 79.5%, are Christians. People call themselves Christians according to tradition, but they neither understand nor act according to the true meaning of Christianity. No true Christian, Gnostic, ever abuses and enslaves their fellow brothers and sisters. All such deeds belong to the primal stage of consciousness. Not even the animals behave in a similar way, like some humans here on earth. Man is regarded as the crown of creation. Those who claim to be Christians and deliberately harm their fellow human beings and nature cannot claim to follow Christ, neither in word nor in deed. Such people are wolves in sheep's clothing. The law of Moses, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, belongs to the Jews' religious belief and perception. Yahweh, Jehovah, Kal Purush, Allah, Brahma, and others are the creator, the creative power of the mind world, matter, form, and belong to the second source intelligence. Christ's power is beyond the domain of the mind world, matter, form, and represents the first source intelligence, the Supreme Godhead. Christ can be compared to the scriptwriter of a live theater or movie. Yahweh, Jehovah, Brahma, Kal Purush, Allah, etc. can be compared to the director and the casting director, the executor of what is written in the script. Their task is to maintain the law of karma, of destiny, and make sure that everything that has been written in the script is executed, implemented to the letter. In the New Age, Age of Aquarius, also known as the Golden Age, there will be no room for false prophets. Only true seekers and followers of Christ's esoteric doctrine, Gnosticism, will remain on earth. Those who do not follow the Supreme Godhead, the law of the soul, in word and in deed, will have to leave the earth through wars, natural disasters, epidemics of diseases, famine, suicides, etc., and will never reincarnate to earth again. They will be reborn on a planet in a solar system and galaxy whose environment and matter resonate with their inner quality and characteristics. They will not remember that they have been on earth. All this is described in John's Revelation. St. Paul speaks of cause and effect, the law of karma, destiny, in this sense. Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. They have tried to show to the doubting Christians that reincarnation, rebirth, and the law of karma, destiny, have always been part of the teachings of Christ. By constantly rejecting the key to the riddle of life, the Christian church and followers slowly but steadily degenerate if the Christian church isn't reformed and adapted to the New Age demands and expectations. In order to restore the purpose of life in Christianity, the Christian church must change its position and implement a reformation among the cardinals, bishops, and clergy. Then only will the Christian church and its members become messengers of Christ's esoteric doctrine, Gnosticism, both in word and in deed. The Unifier, world teacher, who seers since long have spoken about, will come from the Nordic countries, is already here. He has so far worked in secret. But now is the time for his appearance and his re-establishment of Christ's secret doctrine. The spiritual master teacher, Unifier, has, through the Northern Pontifical Academy, the Sovereign Imperial Order of Saint-Germain, and the l'Académie Internationale de Culture Humaine Intégrale, re-established the secret doctrine of Christ, which is about the science of the soul. As head of the Northern Pontifical Academy and the Sovereign Imperial Order of Saint-Germain is Sander A. Marcus, Mark John, and Anne-Sophie, Sophia. Sophia is their spiritual protector. The AIC project. The International Academy for Total Human Culture, AIC, offers every true seeker of the meaning of life a rescue program, which through self-realization leads to God realization, and thus to total liberation from the lower quality of the mind, the negative, satanic, draconian powers, influence and impact that destroys human life and the opportunity for continued human development. The New Age man must learn discernment to distinguish falsehood from purity and lies from truth. Today many pretend to be spiritual teachers, but only a few are chosen. In order to help man in his striving for ethics and morality, and to free him from all forms of mind-influenced bondage, and to help him achieve a higher qualitative consciousness, the spiritual master teacher, Unifier, together with his co-workers, have prepared a rescue program. The spiritual master teacher, Unifier, has through unselfish work developed this rescue program over a time period of 45 years. The program consists of about 6,000 pages written materials, over 200 videos and over 400 PowerPoint slides. Added to this is a full digital health program that is unique in its kind. In addition, is offered a training program to each student and member of the Sovereign Imperial Order of Saint-Germain and the AIC Association. This training program releases and neutralizes negative thoughts and feelings that we have stored in our subconscious data fields, in our DNA matrix for thousands of years of stay on this planet. The rescue program contains also a cosmic initiation by the master teacher, which gradually leads to an increased multidimensional consciousness and overall protection from all actions and influences of negative powers, forces. As a member of the new Christian Gnostic community, each member within the Sovereign Imperial Order of Saint-Germain and the AIC Association receives complete anonymity and protection. Neither the Sovereign Imperial Order of Saint-Germain nor the AIC Association discloses any information about their members, neither to governments nor private individuals without member consent. We are a closed organization and have complete immunity. We also want to clarify that we are neither a sect, religion, nor political organization in the sense that an uninitiated might believe or claim. We are a completely independent educational institution in the life sciences, human sciences, mediating a sacred theology, esoteric science, which is quite different from traditional schools and universities. Our teaching takes place mainly online and through closed gatherings. The Northern Pontifical Academy, NPA, AIC, and the Sovereign Imperial Order of Saint-Germain, SIOSG, is the only official educational institution and association on earth whose teachings in the life sciences and esoteric theology lead man to a higher, qualitative, multidimensional consciousness and interaction between earthly and extraterrestrial intelligences and worlds. Your choice determines your faith. Make the decision today. Tomorrow may already be too late.